Hey guys, welcome back to Watch Topic. It's your host, Harper. Today I have 15 things you should never do in other countries. If you have ever traveled before, you know that learning new cultures and seeing new things can be one of the most enlightening experiences of someone's life. But before you book your flight, there are certain things you should always consider. In other countries, some of the customs, traditions, and even laws are entirely different than what you may be used to. That is why I have compiled a list of things you should never do in other countries. Number 15, leave a tip in Japan. We've all been there, sitting around the table at Applebee's, arguing over who's going to leave the tip. Most would probably admit to scrambling around the house on a Friday night, searching for a few bucks to leave the pizza guy waiting at the door. In Japan, however, keep those extra bucks in your pocket. In Japan, tipping is not something that is common, and it may even come off as an insult. Instead of getting a smile and a thank you, you're more likely to end up in an awkward situation and your money rejected. To the people of Japan, you are basically saying that the establishment employing them does not pay them enough, and you are giving them money to make up for it. The best approach is to always assume that any tip or gratuity is included in the bill and avoid leaving a tip at all. Number 14, use your left hand in India. If you ever find yourself sitting down for a meal in India, you should always use your right hand to eat, even if you're left-handed. The left hand is traditionally used for cleaning in India and is considered unclean. Along with eating, you should avoid using your left hand when you are giving someone a gift or exchanging money. To all you left-handers out there, this is probably going to lead to a pretty messy meal, but it's always best to honor other countries' traditions and customs. In addition to India, you should also avoid using your left hand in Africa, Sri Lanka, and other Middle Eastern countries. Number 13, beep the horn in Norway. One of the most frustrating things about driving is having to deal with other drivers on the road. Getting cut off or seeing drivers veer off the road happens all too often. So when someone pulls out in front of you or sits at a green light too long, it's common to lay on the horn a little bit and let them know your frustrations. In Norway, however, this is frowned upon. Honking is considered rude and noisy in Norway and should only be used in case of emergencies. If you decide to use your horn, you might make the locals panic and make the situation worse. So just lay off the horn. Number 12, use first names in Kenya. In Western cultures, it is common that we refer to each other by our first names. This is just how most people talk. Referring to someone as Mr. Smith is mostly reserved for the most formal settings. But if you're traveling to Kenya, always use titles when speaking with people. If you find yourself talking to a local in Kenya, make sure you use titles like Mr., Mrs., and Dr. The only time you should use a first name is if the person is really close to you or that's how they introduce themselves to you. Like me, I introduce myself as Harper, so you can totally call me Harper. Number 11, make physical contact in India. It's normal to see a couple exchanging a kiss or holding each other in a romantic setting, especially when you're trying to get the perfect selfie for Instagram. But if you ever travel to India, certain public shows of affection are definitely frowned upon and could even be seen as illegal. While kissing isn't exactly illegal, it is not common to see a couple kissing in public. If you just can't resist and you kiss in public, you're gonna get some dirty looks and disapproval from the locals. Number 10, after hours boozing in Singapore. While visiting Singapore, having a couple of drinks is encouraged. It is such a beautiful destination, it is hard not to imagine relaxing by the water and enjoying some refreshing beverages to take the edge off. But when 10:30 p.m. hits, the booze goes away. If you get caught with alcohol in public, you run the risk of a $1,000 fine, and on your second offense, it jumps to $2,000 with possible jail time. The law has just come into effect recently and bans the consumption and retail of alcohol from 10:30 p.m. to 7 a.m. across the entire island. You can still have a drink at a bar or a restaurant, but you have to remain on the premises. Any event that's planning on hosting a party and they want to serve alcohol past the designated time needs to have a permit. So if you're planning on going to the beach, you're better off just leaving the Coronas in the cooler. Number 9, make negative jokes about the royal family in Thailand. In 2019, you can avoid hearing people voice their opinion on the state of politics and our current leaders. Anytime you turn on the news station, open your Twitter account, or listen to the radio, you will hear the constant discussions and debates on how our leadership is handling things. In Thailand, this is not the case. Making an insult or saying something that might come off as a threat could lead to some serious jail time. Sentencing can lead anywhere from 3 to 15 years, so if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Number 8, wear camo in Barbados. We see it often. People decide to wear camouflage as a fashion choice. But if you're planning on traveling to the Caribbean on a vacation or a cruise, don't pack your camo, leave it behind. It is illegal to wear camouflage in Barbados, Jamaica, and other Caribbean islands. After some attacks on people from camo-wearing criminals, they were worried that seeing the patterns caused people to leave their guards down. Camouflage is only to be worn by the military or police, and if you are caught wearing it, you will be fined. It is also illegal to sell camo in retail shops or stores. Number 7. Smoke e-cigarettes in the United Arab Emirates, also known as UAE. E-cigarettes or vaping has become a popular alternative to tobacco in the past few years. Companies have been spreading up all over the world with different products and equipment for people to partake in this popular hobby. One company that is not about e-cigarettes is the UAE. While it is unclear whether actually smoking e-cigarettes in the UAE is illegal or not, selling products related to e-cigarettes is definitely a no-go. If you are traveling to the country, you will not be allowed to bring anything related to e-cigarettes in. Being that it is illegal to sell and distribute e-cigarette related products, most people would assume you are not allowed to use them in public. Even though there is no specific law stating you can't smoke e-cigarettes, the best bet is to play it safe and don't vape in public. Number 6, eat all the food on your plate in China. Sitting down for Thanksgiving dinner or visiting with your family, you can usually assume that you will be throwing the diet out the window. Loading up your plate and stuffing down as much food as possible is almost required before heading back for another round. Growing up, you were probably told by your mom that your plate better be cleaned before you get any snacks. In China, things were done a little differently. When visiting China, it is actually rude and insulting to finish all the food off of your plate. No matter how hungry you are, practice a little self-restraint and leave a little food on the plate. This will go a long way. If you clean off your plate, whoever served the meal will assume they did not provide you with a big enough meal and that you were left unsatisfied. So keep a little food left over no matter how hungry you are. Number 5, smile at strangers in Russia. Have you ever caught eyes with someone while sitting on a train during a morning commute? Maybe you pass by people on the sidewalk and instead of avoiding eye contact, you give them a smile and a nod. This would be normal behavior in most cultures, but not in Russia. In Russia, smiling at people is just weird. If you smile at a Russian, they might think you got some weird issues going on. Number 4, riding in the back of an Irish cab. Imagine flagging down a cab in New York City, approaching it and plopping down in the front seat. The driver might look at you like you're some type of sociopath, especially if you are the only rider. Nobody does that. Most of the time, people want to be left alone and limit the amount of interaction with a stranger as much as possible. In Ireland, however, it is very common for folks to sit in the front seat. The cab experience in Ireland is much different compared to other countries. It isn't uncommon to see people bartering prices, having long conversations, and sitting in the front seat. So yeah, this would be seen as awkward in a lot of places, but not Ireland. Number 3, run out of gas on the Autobahn. Have you ever made the last-ditch effort to get your car home without stopping at the gas station, looked at the gas light, and thought, I know my car? This is a risky game to play and can leave you calling someone to pick you up as you leave your car alongside the road. On the German Autobahn, this could get you into some serious trouble. It is illegal to stop for no good reason alongside the Autobahn in Germany. And running out of gas is no good reason to be stopping. Leaving your car on the side of the Autobahn is an obvious safety hazard and it's taken very seriously. It makes sense. Limiting the number of cars parked on the side of the Autobahn is important. So if you run out of gas, you will be fined. Number 2, wearing flip-flops while driving in Spain. For obvious reasons, driving in flip-flops can be dangerous. Your favorite beachwear could get caught in the pedals and cause a fatal car crash if you're not careful. In Spain, they take this really seriously. If you get pulled over while driving and you're caught wearing flip-flops, you're gonna get a big fat ticket. Number 1, chew gum in Singapore. Since 1992, Singapore has banned the use of chewing gum and is illegal to buy or sell it. The ban was in place to keep things clean and limit the number of park benches with a thick layer of bubblicious stuck at the bottom of them. Exceptions have been made in 2004 to allow chewing of gum for therapeutic reasons, dental reasons, or the help with quitting of smoking. You will need to visit a doctor and get it prescribed in order to even become eligible for this. If you have a trip booked to Singapore in the near future, leave the big league chew at home. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe or maybe check out this video. I'll see you next time. Bye!